Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. In today's video, I want to go over some recent information that has come out from CD Projekt Red and why I think a lot of this information coming out might be pointing to the fact about Cyberpunk 2077 possibly being released in 2019. I know it was a little bit of a far cry for a little while of a lot of people thinking Cyberpunk 2077 wouldn't be out this year, but now I'm starting to be convinced that either it's going to be a late 2019 release or an early 2020 release, and I'll explain why based on all of the information that we have. A couple of new news topics regarding CD Projekt Red to go over as well, in them creating 250 new jobs despite last year's profits and revenue declining, so that's cool to see, especially with other publishers and whatnot going through mass layoffs right now. Cool to see more jobs being created in the gaming industry. Also want to highlight two pretty underrated deals that are available right now. Death's Gambit is 50% off on Steam. That'll be available for the next 2 days, and then FTL Faster Than Light is also seeing a significant discount over on Humble. Of course, that's a pretty iconic title. And I'll give you guys the heads up on that, a game you can spend a lot of time on as well. But let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077. Now, while talking about this game, a lot of you guys meme on me saying that this game is not going to be out until 2077. I do believe it's going to be out relatively soon, whether it be end of 2019 or early 2020, and let me explain why. Now, I think the key piece of information that we got recently pointing to the fact that Cyberpunk 2077 is probably going to be out pretty soon is the fact that CD Projekt Red is actually working on two AAA RPGs right now, Cyberpunk 2077 being one of them, the other one being an unannounced game, and right now, they are planning for both of those games to be released before the end of 2021. I imagine that second RPG will be released at the end of 2021. Cyberpunk 2077, on the other hand, that makes me think the game might be released at the end of this year. Why? It's because CD Projekt Red has never had a time where they released a game 1 year and then they followed it up the next year with another major RPG release. That has just never happened. So if Cyberpunk 2077 was a fall 2020 release and they are planning to follow that up with a 2021 release of another major RPG, that is just very uncharacteristic of CD Projekt Red. Is it possible? Sure. But I just don't think that's gonna happen. Also, I give you the fact that they are coming to E3 this year and they're gonna be showcasing more Cyberpunk 2077, and recently they said that this will be its most important one ever, being E3 will be its most important one ever. Now, I was always a little bit concerned with Cyberpunk 2077 having this big E3 presence, because if this game is so far away, it's getting to the point where I don't want to see more of this game without a release date. We already got that sizable gameplay drop last year. Like, let's be real here. Is anybody gonna get any more sold on Cyberpunk 2077 if you weren't sold on that 50-minute gameplay demo you already saw? What can you possibly show us to get us any more excited? I think at that point, if you just show gameplay and you don't give us any release date information, you're honestly hurting the game at that point more than you're helping it, and I think CD Projekt Red understands it. I think they know that the majority of gamers are waiting to hear on a release date for the game, and here's what they said on E3. This is coming directly from CD Projekt Red President and CEO Adam Kaczynski. Last year's E3 had been the most important one so far throughout the whole CD Projekt history, but this year is going to be the most important one ever for us. We have really prepared for a strong show. It's too early to go into details just now. We are doing a lot of things we don't communicate, and I'm not saying another Cyberpunk product is or is not being developed. It's just that there are a few things we're not discussing just yet. So it looks like CDPR is going to have a big presence at E3. However, I think it all relies on what they show for Cyberpunk 2077. And let's be frank here. If they showed a new gameplay demo, would it be cool? Sure. But is that really going to get gamers any more excited than we already are? Everybody I see in the comment section is already sold on Cyberpunk 2077. I know the majority of you guys are going to pick this game up on day one. Who cares if we see another gameplay demo for the game? I know that sounds a little saddening, but I'm just being real here. At that point, I think you are just overexposing the game, and sometimes less is more when showcasing gameplay for a game. We saw that with Fallout 4 in 2015. I'd like to go back to that game so many times because I really think that's how the majority of big titles should be announced. I'm not a fan of these games like Elder Scrolls 6 being announced last year. I just thought that was a stupid move, especially from Bethesda. However, we just got a teaser trailer for that, and it's not like we got this big gameplay drop and everybody's expecting that game to be at E3. Nothing like that. However, I'm just not of this notion that you should be announcing games 10 years before they come out and just constantly show gameplay after gameplay. That's why the Final Fantasy VII Remake has lost so much momentum, comparatively speaking, to when it was announced in 2015, but that's a topic for a different video. So all of that evidence in place, I think Cyberpunk 2077 is either going to be out end of this year or early 2020 at the latest. I think anything after that would be kind of a disappointment, especially considering the fact that end of 2020 will bring forth the PlayStation 5 and next Xbox, so why why would Cyberpunk 2077, a game that's being promoted as a PS4 and Xbox One title, obviously alongside its PC release, why would you release that at the end of 2020 unless it suddenly becomes a cross-gen game? But now you're opening up another can of worms. Based on CDPR's clear confidence about E3 being a strong show this year, I think they have it under their sleeve that they're going to announce a Cyberpunk 2077 release date, and I do think it's going to come end of 2019. I'm starting to be convinced that maybe this will be an end of 2019 game, and I was convinced the other way just a few months ago, but we know this game is pretty far along based on all of the gameplay we've seen, so I'll keep you guys posted, but that's just my speculation based on all of the facts we have at this point, and based on Adam Szynski saying that this is going to be the most important E3 ever. How is it going to be the most important E3? Well, if we get a release date for Cyberpunk 2077, that would be pretty freaking huge. Also, speaking of CD Projekt Red, despite last year's profit and revenue declining based on the fact that they're not releasing as many games, and based off the fact that The Witcher 3 longevity is kind of dying out at this point, CD Projekt Red is still planning on creating 250 new jobs despite last year's profit and revenue decline. Speaking during a presentation on the company's annual financial report, the CFO of CD Projekt Red acquired a plot of land late last year which gives the possibility of developing 3,000 square meters of office space. He said that's likely less than half the current seating of our company, so we will probably be able to provide 250 new jobs for CD Projekt Red and GOG. Over the past year, we greatly expanded our creative potential in both studios. We were also joined by a highly talented team, as well as developers from Spako, a newly established company currently working on a yet unannounced project targeting mobile devices. Always great to see more jobs being created in the gaming industry, as there is a lot of negative publicity going around. EA laying off a lot of people, Blizzard laying off a lot of people. Sometimes all that news gets more publicity than the actual good news of CD Projekt Red creating new jobs, but nonetheless, I want to see CD Projekt Red continue to expand as a studio. They can create so many compelling games, and at this point, we are seeing their game releases pretty inconsistently. The Witcher 3 was all the way back in 2015, and in an ideal world where CD Projekt Red is released at the end of this year, that's what, a 4.5 year gap between games. I know it takes time to create quality games, but it would be great if we get to a point where their games are releasing every other year and we're getting quality games from CDPR every other year. But to do that, you need talented staff on board, and with 250 new jobs, that's pretty cool. But do be mindful of the fact that's for CD Projekt Red as well as GOG, their online distribution platform. So that's something I want you guys to be mindful as well. Lastly, I do want to give you guys a heads up. Over on Steam, you can get Death's Gambit, a challenging 2D action platformer with deep RPG elements. That's 50% off for $9.99. This game has awesome presentation, great music, solid gameplay. It's a game that I was really looking forward to ahead of its launch. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out absolutely perfect, but still, it's got some very cool mechanics. But I did want to give it a recommendation as it's 50% off right now. $9.99 is a pretty good buy for it, although I do hope that it's going to get a little bit cheaper. I think at a $4.99 price point, it would be a really good buy, but nonetheless, that's just me being cheap as hell. $9.99 for it is pretty good. I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. Also, the Humble store right now has FTL Faster Than Light 70% off for $2.99. That is a great buy for that. FTL is a very interesting game released all the way back in 2012, and one of the few games on Steam that has an all-time overwhelmingly positive reception. 96% of the 33,518 user reviews are positive, and it's a spaceship simulation roguelike game that you can spend so much time in. It's got a wide variety of different languages. There was a free expansion released in FTL Advanced Edition that included a new alien race, events, weapons, playable ships, drones, and more. Also adds additional music tracks. For $3, given the quality of game and the content you have here and the longevity and how long you can spend with FTL, in terms of a value buy, FTL is as good of a buy as it gets, so definitely give that a look. And if you are a monthly subscriber, of course, you'll save an additional 10% and you will get Humble rewards back as well, so you could hypothetically get it even cheaper. I'll leave links to both of those deals in the description box below. And that's gonna conclude this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my speculation on Cyberpunk 2077. Again, nothing confirmed, but getting some information. I am starting to think this game might be released at the end of this year. If not at the end of this year, hopefully early 2020, but I do think it's gonna come sooner than a lot of you guys are thinking, considering a lot of you guys are thinking this game's never gonna come out or it's gonna come out in 2077. I think it's gonna come a little bit sooner than that. And speaking of CD Projekt Red, they're creating some new jobs. That's great to see in a volatile industry like the gaming industry. Death's Gambit is on sale right now, as is FTL. Links to those in the description box below. And that's gonna conclude this video. If you guys have a request for a future video, leave it in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.